Someone you create a visionary. Yes. Let us begin. Let us begin with our reading. Let us begin. Rest and reflection. The medicine of sacred speech. I have not caused pain with my words. Today is restoration. Today is restoration through conscious silence and healing speech. After a week of examining how words wound and practicing healing communication, your nervous system needs space to integrate new patterns of sacred speech. Your voice is a sacred instrument. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is say nothing until you're certain your words will help rather than harm. Not all emotions need immediate expression. Not all thoughts deserve voice. Not all reactions require response. Today you practice the sacred pause between feeling and speaking, where wisdom lives. When you do speak today, let every word be medicine. Let your voice be a healing presence in the world. Let your speech contribute to the amount of love, safety, and encouragement available rather than adding to the pain, fear, and criticism that already exists in abundance. Here's your embodiment practice. Place your hands on your throat, your speech center. Commit to using the sacred instrument only for healing. Feel the power of your voice to bless or curse, to heal or harm. Say, I am a guardian of sacred speech. My words contribute healing to the world. Let's read that again. Today is restoration through conscious silence and healing speech. After a week of examining how words wound and practicing healing communication, your nervous system needs space to integrate new patterns of sacred speech. Your voice is a sacred instrument. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is say nothing until you're certain your words will help rather than harm. Not all emotions need immediate expression. Not all thoughts deserve a voice. Not all reactions require response. Today you practice the sacred pause between feeling and speaking where wisdom lives. When you do speak today, let every word be medicine. Let your voice be a healing presence in the world. Let your speech contribute to the amount of love, safety, and encouragement available rather than adding to the pain, fear, and criticism that already exists in abundance. Embodiment practice. Place your hand on your throat, your speech center. Commit to using the sacred instrument only for healing. Feel the power of your voice to bless or curse, to heal or harm. Say, I am a guardian of sacred speech. My words contribute healing to the world. Yes. I don't know if there is a lot to say about today's reading. I don't really know if there's a lot to say about today's reading. I think today's reading asks us to live in the sacred stillness that so many of us fear. The sacred stillness that so many of us fear. I have no idea why we fear stillness, silence. So many of us fear stillness or silence. We fear it. In the stillness, you receive sacred instruction. I read something on Reddit today, and it says a focused fool can achieve more than a distracted genius. I laughed. I laughed. Because a focused fool is usually functioning at such low levels of human ignorance or existence. They think that they know what they are doing until it starts backfiring. It starts backfiring. So they think they're focused and they are moving in the right direction, but they don't even realize that they are a fool because they don't sit long enough in silence to receive sacred direction. So even if they think that they are winning, they're winning. I'm winning. They end up in prison. They end up with all sorts of problems that they cannot fix. And they need the seemingly distracted genius to come and save them from the disasters that they've created with their focused ignorance. They need that because they don't have the vision. They have no vision. They're just like following. I've learned this more over the last 3 years, that it's just better sometimes to be silent. Just to be silent and let humanity and let consciousness do what it's going to do. and let the consequences unfold. Because what I've learned over the last 3 years is that consciousness will do what it wants to do until it is faced with the consequences that it needs to face. And only then, when people are in extreme pain, do they seek to find the solutions. Before then, consciousness, humanity is what it is, because we are still at a 2-year-old stage of understanding and comprehension. A 2-year-old stage of comprehension and understanding. And when it all backfires, they always cry. I don't understand why consciousness or humanity cries when you could have just sat still for a bit and listened, and then moved, and then listened, and then moved, and then listened, and then moved, and then listened, and then moved. But I also have noticed that in myself. So today I encourage us to just be still. To just be silent. Don't speak when you don't fully understand the picture. Don't speak when you don't fully understand what is going on within you. Don't speak when you don't fully understand how it's going to be received by others and what the consequences are going to be as a result. Don't speak. Don't speak. Be still. Be still. We are still at a consciousness level of a 2-year-old. And that's why you're seeing the uproar of emotions throughout the world. And very few people can watch with Shiva consciousness humanity do its thing and not react. Very few humans on this planet are living from this consciousness. Very few. I don't fully live in this consciousness of just watching and not reacting. I'm still embodying that. At times I react. At times I want to speak, but now I've just learned that consciousness doesn't listen anyway. They have to be in extreme pain, like a kind of pain that is just so destabilizing. And then when they crack, that's when it's like, okay, maybe I can listen. Maybe there's something that I need to listen. Maybe because most of us are run by fear. We are run by fear. And so we think if we talk more, we think if we do more, we think if we can outsmart this person, that person, this bad thing from happening, control this thing from happening, we will feel peaceful, we will feel certain. But it doesn't work like that in life. It doesn't work like that. So what do? We just sit and wait for calamity to happen? I'm not saying that. But I am asking us to ask the right questions. What does control give me? A sense of peace. Okay? Is it real peace or is it manufactured peace for the moment? And after you've experienced that small bit of peace for the moment, something else backfires, something else goes wrong, something else goes wrong. So you're never really in a state of peace. You're in a state of a false sense of peace. You're not really in peace. You're in a state of fear and anxiety, and just trying to manage this fear and anxiety by doing all of these things to control when the outside, when truly it is the inside that we need to pay attention to. But when everything is in uproar, when everything is in upheaval, we all believe that if we could just manage the outside, control this, control that, move this piece, move that piece. And as we are moving this piece and that piece outside, moving that piece and that piece outside, if we're not peaceful inside, if we're still in a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety, all of the pieces that we've tried to move on the outside start backfiring because they weren't well thought out. They were a reaction to the emotional upheaval. And instead of working through the emotional upheaval within, we try to fix the outside. That usually does not work. It backfires because everything begins from within, the spirit within. So if the spirit within, the thought processes are all over the place because of fear and anxiety and anger and a sense of wanting control and disgust and apathy and jealousy and envy and rage. What we create on the outside might seem like a solution, but it is a temporary solution to a bigger problem that is brewing underneath. I've never seen this work. I am South African American, born in South Africa during apartheid. And yes, during apartheid, there was a lot of upheaval and a lot of protesting and a lot of movement on the outside. I am grateful for this, for those that went before me and went out and fought and went out and did what they needed to do to bring some kind of liberation to South Africans so that I can even just be here in Thailand and have traveled a huge part of the world. Well, not a huge part of the world, but I've traveled to a lot of countries. But when I look at South Africa and where it is 30 years after apartheid ended, I am thinking, okay, it has ended, but the mind is still captured. And every step forward to try and fix the outside ends up in a little bit of a disaster because the mind is not still. And now we are seeing that in America. We are seeing that in Europe. We are seeing that in Asia with the political unrest. with the climate anxiety, with the financial meltdown, because fundamentally the spirit is not at ease. Fundamentally, the spirit is not at ease. So what are we supposed to do, Tembi? Sit around like monks and nuns and away? No, I'm not saying that. Not all of us are here on the path of being planetary guardians. Not all of us are on that path. However, there still needs to be a focused attention on the spirit, the energy, the source energy that creates movement on the outside. Because if there is no attention on the thought patterns, on the spirit that is driving you to go and take action, all these actions are temporary and they lead to devastating consequences, because they are taken from a space and a frequency of delusions, illusions, lies, and confusion. And when reality sets in place, reality becomes visible, because any action, any decision that is taken from a place of delusion, illusion, lies, and confusion creates devastating consequences for innocent people. Innocent people. Innocent people. And we are seeing that now all around the world. All around the world. That's why leadership has nothing to do with you leading people. That's why leadership, even Moses in the Bible, tried to lead the children of Israelite out of Egypt. And, we're still in the same story with the Israelites and the Abrahamic laws. That's why Yeshua taught that the kingdom of heaven is within. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven within. That's why the Buddha taught, sit down, shut up, and meditate. He didn't really say that, but in plain YouTube talk, that's what it is. I don't know when humanity is going to learn this. This is why I say we're still functioning at 2-year-old consciousness. The consciousness of a 2-year-old. The consciousness of a 2-year-old. It doesn't matter how many things we talk about. 3-eye atlas, 3-eye atlas. We are at a new stage, a frontier of human evolution and human consciousness. Yes, but the trauma still lives in the body. So what? The trauma is just going to go away? All of a sudden, human consciousness is just going to evolve? Okay, yes, this is a possibility. Because when you focus on healing and you focus on raising your vibration, your consciousness, it leaps. It has quantum leaps. Truly, I can acknowledge that for myself. But what about the other people that haven't evolved? What are they going to do? Die out? Before they die out, they are going to create havoc. So when you have the stillness within you, as the havoc is continuing and accelerating, you can sit and be like, wow, what a story. It's quite something. What a story. And not getting tangled in this chaos. Not getting tangled in the chaos. And just fulfill your purpose. But not getting tangled in the chaos. Because once you start getting entangled in the chaos, you're done at that point. Because everybody wants to be seen, validated, get brownie points. But if it's chaotic, you're going to lose the balance of your mind. Truly this. And as consciousness is collapsing, old structures of consciousness are collapsing. Those that are centered, those that know their oneness with source, those that have been still long enough and maybe seemed like they were scared, maybe seemed like they were chaotic or distracted, maybe seemed like they didn't know what was going on. Those are the ones that are going to make it through because they have the resilience. The ones that were focused fools have burnt themselves out because every time you try something, it backfires. Every time you try something, it succeeds for a little bit, backfires. And when it backfires, it has devastating consequences for a lot of souls. What are we going to do about these souls that have no funding for the USD aid? What are we going to do about these souls? What are we going to do about these souls? That's another backfiring. What are we going to do about these souls? So we're just going to let them die out? The grief that is going to hit this planet is on another level. It's already hitting this planet because the jobs, people are losing their jobs. Medical insurance. Once you have no job, you have no medical insurance. Okay, so you're going to go into freelancing. Okay, I understand that. But now you've got a whole lot of other issues that now you're dealing with. But you know what I've come to understand about this is that consciousness is always evolving and something more beautiful comes out of every single collapse, every single painful experience. You just need the resilience to just keep going, keep moving, keep going, keep moving, keep going, keep moving, keep going, keep moving. It's when you don't have the resilience to keep going, keep moving, and having the faith that it's working out. Even when you don't see how, you just have the faith. It's working out. It's working. Just don't give up the faith. It's working out. And do not be around negative people. Negative people will drain you because they are chaotic in the mind, because they don't sit down and shut up. They're just talking. They are talking. So I like to live in reality. I don't really like to live in clouds. I love to live in reality. And in reality, you face what is. And you don't try to believe that you're going to fix what is. You are not God. You do not have the strength of God. You can have an army of 1 billion people working to achieve something. God knows best. But there is no God outside there. God is within. So until you connect with the God within, with the consciousness of love, of joy, of progress, of creative expression, of wholeness within, the outside experience will reflect the chaos within. The outside experience will reflect the peace within. So if you are unwilling to connect with the presence of love, with the presence of spirit, with the presence of source within, don't expect anything that you create on the outside to have lasting impact. It will collapse because you are chaotic and you are not hearing the voice of your own higher self. The future gen leaders are those that will create from a place of stillness, because everything on the outside is noisy. You cannot thrive nor have the sustaining power when there is chaos within and chaos without. So a focus fool, yes, can create in short spurts. Boom. And win and win and win and win and win. And then the genius will arise and say, oh, it's collapsing now. So what now? What now? Then the panic sets in. I urge you to be a still genius. Listen to the voice of love within you. What is love going to do? It's not going to pay my bills. You don't know that. Because when everyone is in hate and everyone is in fear and everyone is panicking, love is steady. Joy is magnetic. Joy is expansive. Ecstasy is peace, is power.